was the save spot? Oh, it's like, why even ask? Yeah, the only reason anyone's going to play Final Fantasy 13 2 is if they play Final Fantasy 13 and beat it, because you need to have beaten 13 to play 13 2. It's like shoving themselves into a corner. 10 2 was a better excuse because more people played it, but for 13 2 is just terrible. I heard 13 2 is actually a much more improved. It's like what 13 should have been, but at the same time, it's like, why would I want to play this anymore? I hated the characters. I didn't like the story. It's just like it's pointless. It's pointless. And you know, before they release Versus 13, they're gonna put out a Type 0 2, because they said they're making a sequel for that game. So check that shit out. The same guy who decided to make 13-2 was the same guy who said we should make a 10-2, so think of it what you will. Versus 13 looks like Final Fantasy 6, because you can walk around in mechs and destroy everything, but a little bit of Kingdom Hearts in there for good measure. I'm gonna drop you in front of this save spot. Agreed. I just think it was a bullshit excuse when they said, hey, we can't make high definition towns, it's really hard to do. And it's like, what about Fable? What about Oblivion? What about White Knight Chronicles? It's like, these games can make huge cities with tons of people in them. Why can't you do that? You know, it's lame excuse after lame excuse. It's sad. It's like, what your technology isn't any better than a lot of other people's, so whatever. You just had a crap engine or something. And then, you know, Final Fantasy 14 in a couple weeks is going to go pay to play again. But they're putting a whole new engine and everything like that in it, so maybe that's a good sign. But I just don't think Square Enix is... I think Square Enix itself has ruined the entire thing. It needs to go back to being Squaresoft. Like, everything after Squaresoft has just been awful for me. Or at least, you know, you can only choose on one hand, like, the good games that they've made. No, they're making a 15. They said they might go with a more action RPG kind of style for 15, who knows. I just hope that they put someone different in front to lead this game, you know, instead of having the guy, like maybe that guy who did all those PC RPGs and stuff like that from Square Enix, like if they make him do console games maybe, or whatever. No, not Nomura. They really, 15, they shouldn't use Nomura. I think that's why they don't have him making the main games right now. They need a better director. I think they need to go back to the time when it was actually a very exciting event when Final Fantasy came out, instead of being this sort of like, man, I don't know, this is getting kind of bad. Nah, Monolith couldn't do it. I don't know. Well, they charge you for 14 because they completely changed everything about that game. It's more like Final Fantasy 11 again. It's like they got rid of a lot of the stupid stuff and they've implemented some really big changes, some really drastic changes. And it's actually, at this point, it's way better than it was. Incredibly better. If you haven't played 14, like, in the past maybe few months, it is incredible. It is way, way better than it was. They got rid of that stupid stamina shit and put in chocobos and all kinds of stuff. And they, of course, like I said, they built a brand new engine for it. So who knows? I don't think I'm probably not going to play it. I put so much time into 11, but I don't know if I can play an MMO anymore. Maybe Terra, but you know, that's a different story. Well, it was like 10 tried to be. Okay, 10 was stupid. 12 tried to be like Final Fantasy 6 in a way, or Final Fantasy 9. 13 tried to be Final Fantasy 7. And it's like, be original, okay? Be true to yourself here. Too many belts. Nomura brings too many belts. I played Final Fantasy 11. I must have, like I said, I poured in like 70 days total for that game. Like if I timed, like if I added up all the time I poured into Final Fantasy 11. It's because they lost Hironobu Sakaguchi. He left. Look at the games he's making now, like Lost Odyssey, Last Story. He's doing far better for himself on his own than he did before he handed the reins over, you know? I mean, sure, Sakaguchi wasn't really directing the Final Fantasy games in like the second, like the later, and like to the end of the 90s, but he knew better. At least when he was around like a producer, as a producer, it was at least still pointed in the right direction. Exactly. After 9, everything like I could give you so much shit about 10, 12, and 13. It's disgusting. Ten was really, really bad. And 10-2 was really, really bad. 12 was extremely bad. 13 was abysmally bad. It's like, how can you just scraping the bell? I didn't like 10 at all. I thought 10 was a really bad game for me. I hated 12. It suffered from multiple main characters, you know? Because that's what they said. They were going to make Balthier the main character. And then, like, halfway into development, they switched lead characters. You know, it's like, it's stupid. And that's, you know... I've beaten 10 and 12. I have not beaten 13. I only got like 5 hours into that game. I didn't beat 10-2 because I could care less. Because it's like, if it's not part of the main stories, I don't need to go back and play you. I didn't like 12's battle system. I think it was very lazy. I mean, straight, you can play that game without, you can just set it and just sit back and you can, like, pretty much, you can let the game play by itself. And I hated the licensing system. I thought that was atrocious. I thought that was a really bad idea. Like, you need a license to wear a hat. It's like, give me a freaking break. And I hated the characters in 12. It's, I thought the only, like, some... Okay, the 12's characters weren't that bad. But Vaughn and Penelope and those characters, like, they had no point being there. And that's exactly the same with 10. Like, Tidus had no reason to be there. And sure, his dad was Sin, but it's like, who cares? Tidus could have died, like, all that time ago in Xanarkand, and no one would have cared. Gilgamesh, but okay. But it's still... I think it would have been much better if Balthier was the main character, or somebody else, not Vaughn. Vaughn was a terrible character. They needed the ambiguous hero. Like, you don't know if he's a guy or a girl, seriously. Like, maybe he was born a girl and pretends to be a dude or something. It was weird. Or one with a very deep voice. They couldn't make Balthier the main character because he wasn't pretty enough or something. I don't know what it was. Make the Icelandic chick the main character. I don't know. 10, I can give you so much reasons why 10 was a bad game. I give you a lot of reasons why 8 was a bad game too, but 10, you know, I have so many issues with that title. Anyway, I think I'm gonna call it a cast, guys. I'm really I'm at the last part of the game too, so the next time I play, pretty sure like the next time I play it'll be the end. I just don't have the time to play it right now, so when I come back to it later, please check it out then, and you know, we'll beat the game together, and then I'll figure out what I'm gonna play next. I think I'll come up with something good. In the meantime, you guys have a really good night, and have a good weekend if I don't see you. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good night. We'll discuss this more some other time.